Hello, beauties. Welcome to Motivational Monday. I'm so happy you're here. If you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, I look forward to getting to know you. Hope you find something that you can use in your own life. I will be talking about a topic today that became a philosophy in my life starting in my early 20s as the result of a passage I read on a page that said, even thorns have roses. And in that season of my life, in that moment that I read it, that was just this huge epiphany and made perfect sense, and is something I glommed onto and ever since has just become a part of who I am and how I view things. And it has helped me through my darkest hours and is just a part of my life in everyday life as well. So if you'd like to hear different ways that I use that tool and the importance of gratitude, please stay and join the discussion. So our first quote is, "Gratitude and attitude are not challenges, they are choices." And that quote is by Robert Baathe. I'm not sure how you say his name. It's a double A, but it looks like Bath with two A's. Gratitude and attitude are not challenges, they are choices. They can certainly feel like challenges, can't they? But as I have said in a discussion with someone in my own life who often focuses on the negative and the poor me in life, and believing that she is the only one who bad things happen to, everybody else has this idyllic life, I constantly find myself reminding her that that is not the case. Everybody has their own shit. We all do. We don't always share it. And as we know, as social media consumers, we get to see the highlight reel, and it might look like everything is always coming up roses for people. But behind the scenes, everybody has their own stuff that they need to deal with. And if they choose for it to be a challenge, in my experience, life can be really hard when you stay focused on it being a challenge. But when you make the choice to change or improve the attitude and focus on the gratitude of the moment, it can be very empowering and helpful towards realizing how much you really do have and seeing you through to the next positive thing. So that attitude of gratitude is important in seeing you through the hard stuff, or it has been important for seeing me through the hard stuff. And as a result, has just become a habit. And which leads us to the next quote, which is, wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life. And that is what brings me to the topic today, actually. So when I read that line of "even thorns have roses," over time, that just became a philosophy for me, that everything has a rose if you choose to look for it. Everything. I have one story that really emphasizes it, but it's a little too personal for how new we all are to each other. But I'm sure it will be shared in the future. But I do have a funny story that I will share with you. So with "all thorns have roses," I basically have adopted a life's philosophy that I wear like a cloak. It's automatic for me anymore that there's always a rose. And in my darkest hours, I believe that. I don't necessarily feel it. I may feel that the challenge is bigger than the ability to make the choice, but I know it to be true. And so if I focus, like kind of my way through getting through those really, really, really difficult times is to truly believe there is a rose somewhere in the thorns. It might be a field of thorns and I cannot see the rose, but if I spend the time and energy and make the choices to look for it, I can always find it. And I always have. And then once I find it, even if it's just like a tiny bud way off in the distance, buried in the thorns, when I find it, I hone in and I focus on it. And I work on nurturing it to something that can guide me to either a more peaceful mindset or into a lighter time, but it is always the guiding light for me. That's why that was the title for this video. For me, being able to focus on finding the rose no matter what, finding that hidden blessing that exists no matter what, has been the guiding light to my going from a dark place to a brighter place. And the reason I bring it up today is I really haven't it's just an automatic thought pattern for me. It's just how I operate in my life, and I will share a story with you in a minute as to how that is manifested itself, and that's really all my son knows. But but it isn't anything, things have been actually pretty smooth for a bit here. And Thursday, I had to rely on that philosophy to not get overwhelmed by circumstances. So if you watched my last video, which I'll link in the comments, which was instead of Think About It Thursday, it was a Fight Back Friday, because I just ran into obstacle after obstacle after obstacle getting Thursday's video posted. And one of those obstacles was that on my way back from filming it, or refilming it, because there had been obstacles before that, but on my way back from refilming it so that I could post it and it would still go up on Thursday and still be a Think About It Thursday, I stopped for gas at our local Costco and was super lucky. There was no line, which never happens at this particular Costco at that time of day, and got gas relatively quickly. It was at the very front pump, was ready to pull out, started my car, noticed the gentleman behind me rather than waiting for me to pull forward and just pulling out behind me, decided to go around me. And so I stayed put. I didn't put my car in gear, and I stayed put waiting for him to go around me to avoid crashing. But he did not gauge where my car was relative to his, and I heard a crunch. And so the next couple hours of my day, rather than spending it getting our video up, was spent in exchanging insurance information and calling and getting a claim submitted, blah, blah, blah. But I could have easily been, my frustration levels were high because I was trying really hard to get that video out. And I could have easily just become overwhelmed by it. I could have gotten angry at him. I could have lots of things. But I chose to focus on the rose. And automatically, I didn't have to really choose. It's, like I said, it's an automatic for me. But he thanked me for being so nice about it. And it's like, it's property damage. It's just property damage. I'm fine. I wasn't moving. It's fine. there are bigger things. I didn't say that part to him, but there are bigger things. There are harder things. So I made a choice to focus on the rose, and it was much more positive than focusing on the negative, which certainly could have happened. The next quote, which will lead to the next story, is wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life. So that last story kind of illustrated that a little bit. But I always, anybody who knows me knows that I always focus on finding the rose. And like I said, sometimes it can be really hard, but it is always there. And raising my son, that's all he knew, because that philosophy coming into my life and just kind of like taking a breath for me had already been around for like 20 years when I had him, or almost 20 years when I had him. It was the only way my son knew me, was with that philosophy of looking for the rose. But it wasn't ingrained in him yet. He just knew that to be part of who I was. So he was about 7. Somebody had been impressed with him and his attitude regarding fixing a bike that he had, or something to that effect. And it was near the holidays, and somebody from the PTA asked if I would be all right with them purchasing him a bike for the holidays. And I graciously accepted their generosity, and they knew that we did not celebrate Christmas, so they gave it to me early to give to him as a gift for our holiday. And it turned out there was a defect of some kind in the bike. I don't remember what, but it needed to go back to the store. And because it was given to us ahead of Christmas, I had the opportunity to beat the return rush and take it back before it got too crazy. And not having to wait in the long return lines of after Christmas. But I was pretty much running out of time for that. I came home from work. I was exhausted. I did not want to go to the store that night. And but I dragged myself out to do it because I didn't want to wait in return lines even more. So we dragged ourselves out, spent a couple hours in the store, came out, came around my driver's side, and I had a flat tire. My back tire was flat. And I got in the car, and he's sitting next to me, and I'm pounding my steering wheel. Somewhere there's a rose. Somewhere there's a rose. Somewhere there's a rose. And obviously the pounding was me trying to find it, or not let the frustration, more than that, not letting the frustration get to me in the moment. And he turned to me and he's like, "Mom, where is there a rose in a flat tire? You're tired." And I took a deep breath, had to come up with an answer for him, and did. In the time it took me to take the breath, I turned to him and I went, "We weren't driving when I got it. We weren't going fast. We weren't in an accident. Lots of roses." So that's how wearing that gratitude as a cloak comes in to feed every corner of my life. So with the gentleman on Thursday, I just didn't even go to that negative place. Both my son and my brother were in accidents in the last 6 months. My brother's was near fatal, thankfully not, and lots of roses in his situation. And Zachary's could have been way, way worse for what it was and what hit him. But he is still dealing with getting his life all the way back. But again, roses, because he was hit by a flatbed trash transporter truck thing that transports all the big dumpsters to like businesses and stuff. And it was full and broadsided him. So it could have been really bad, and it wasn't. So even with his accident, chose to focus on the rose, as did he, because he spent his 25 years being raised with that philosophy. So wearing it like a cloak has the power to feed all corners of your life. So if you have never thought of looking for the roses or the hidden blessings in the circumstances that come up in your own life, give it a try. Like I said, for me anyway, it has been an extremely valuable tool. And with practice, it can become automatic. That's not to say I don't have days that are overwhelming. I just have a tool to fall back on that makes it less so. And like I said, in my darkest times, being able to use that philosophy and that strategy has been invaluable to my survival and keeping me putting one foot in front of the other when I don't know that I necessarily would have been able to do that had I not had that philosophy. So give it some thought. Hopefully it inspired you. I'm happy to answer questions if you have questions that you'd like to ask in the comments about how I use it, or a circumstance you want to share and saying, well, where's a rose in this? Which is often people's automatic response, is that the challenge is bigger than being able to make the choice to see past that challenge. So it takes practice. I won't lie, it takes practice, but it does permeate other parts of your life and make it much easier. So think on it, see if it's worth trying for you, and go be your own kind of beautiful. Have a fabulous day. I look forward to seeing you on Think About It Thursday.